Hey friends, this episode is really personal. I talk openly about my struggles with drinking and some of the ways I've tried to cope when life gets overwhelming. It's vulnerable and messy, but I'm sharing it because I believe healing starts with honesty. If you've ever felt like you're hiding parts of yourself or numbing just to get through, you're not alone. This is me choosing to show up anyway. Hello! Hello, everyone. I have made it back to Basement Philosophies, and this is my relaunch. As you can see, it is now Basement Philosophies, Remembering Her. I wanted to keep the old name, but I want to convey that as I evolve, I think that this space should. So, I have been gone. I looked at the date of it was back in 2023. Wow. Wow. I thought it was last year, but no, it was 2023. And boy, oh boy, has it been a shit show over on my end. So I really do hope that all of your worlds are going well. Mine, on the other hand, I just don't know. There are no words, really. I debated on coming back to this space because I had this very real fear that if I came back to this space, something bad would happen, because so often it did. I think the last time I wanted to come back, I was having some people lined up to talk to, and my daughter ended up in Texas Children's with emergency open heart surgery. So that happened, and then she got through that, and I believe it was June or July, I tried to come back. And lo and behold, when I did, I think I put out that last episode, and I got fired from my internship. I was 7 weeks from graduating, and I got fired. I got fired from that space, and because of everything that went down and the way that it went down, I was put on leave. I didn't get to go back to school for a whole year. And I had to restart the last semester. So yeah, but I finally graduated. I'm a LPC associate. So if you're not familiar, I'm a licensed professional counselor associate, meaning I am not fully licensed, but I do work underneath the supervisor. So you have to have an ungodly amount of hours. And I have probably like 10 because instead of going to work for someone so that these vultures could continue to take all of my money, because, in grad school, interns are exploited like so badly, and it's actually coming to light now, and it's like this really big problem, and these therapists and supervisors are like, we deserve to be compensated for our work. Okay, well, your terrible business plan shouldn't fall on me. Like, I don't need to hold up your terrible business foundation. So it's like an ongoing thing. So I decided I'm going to try to build my own thing, and it's hard, and it's going slow, and you just, the imposter syndrome and everything that comes with trying to build a business. And I'm still, I've had a few clients, and I'm just kind of brainstorming still. Like, do I really, which way do I want to go? Who do I want to work with? I think I know who I want to work with, but it's just kind of like, do I want to put in the spiritual, astrological aspects, or is that just too much of a gamble right now? And I really don't know. I'm thinking about going all in because I have 0 clients right now. So what would it hurt? So I don't know. We'll see. I've just really come to love astrology. I've learned a lot about myself, my relationships through astrology, just the way I am in relationships and the best things for me. I also have been looking into human design, but I don't know. I just don't have the same passion for human design as I do astrology. Like astrology, I could dig and dig and dig and just, I can't get enough. I remember one day I just dug for hours and hours on my own stuff. Like, okay, well, what does this mean? And, what's this placement? And can you please tell me why my life is so fucked up? And it actually had an answer, which is funny because all my life, it's it it's like a series of ups and downs, ups and downs, ups and downs. Now, some of the self sabotage I am responsible for, and I will take accountability for that. But there's a lot of times when there has been probably four occasions where my life I've hit like rock bottom. And I don't mean like, oh, I was really sad. I'm talking boyfriend leaves, that triggers lost friendships. Then I would get laid off, and then I would have no money, and then it would be like negative thousands in my account. Okay. Or, my sister's husband dying, and me going to live with her, and just, what the grief does to families, honestly. You just learn so much about people, and it's just very, very, dark times. I remember I lost so much weight. I was so sad for my sister. I was sad for Mike. That was his name. I was just sad. And just sad about what was happening with my life and how I had to say goodbye to a life I wasn't ready to. And I didn't realize that that's even what was going to happen or what I was doing, you know? And then we come to like my most recent chapter, and it turns out to be like one of the hardest ones. Like, what the fuck? What the fuck? So I was like, okay, is there some sort of curse on my life? Did I really sign up for this? And astrologically speaking, yeah. Yeah, it would look like I did sign up for this life. Um, so it's kind of like a phoenix rising energy. That's what I was kind of reading about. And it's like I chose to go through these periods of like burn it all down, and then when I rise back up, I become someone different. And it's true. I have risen and fallen, risen and fallen. Four, I say four, that number jumped out at me. It probably has been more. But yeah, like all of those motherfuckers in my past, if they knew me now, they wouldn't even recognize me. They probably wouldn't recognize the way I looked, the way I talked, anything. Now, does that say that I have it all figured out? Oh, fuck no. So I wanted, and I'm going to be very, very honest here. I was questioning whether or not I should come back to this space because I don't have it all figured out. And in fact, I'm in a really, really messy period in my life. And I will explain why in a minute, but I want you to know that what ultimately made me decide to come back is that I am going to start implementing things in my life to change it. But I was going to do it in real time, and I was going to share it with everyone. And maybe I could see like what works and what doesn't. And because what I do know is that what is happening now with me, it's not working. And I was in my bath last night, and my husband, he was just kind of like, I just, you don't say anything. And then I wasn't shitty, but I was just like, well, you don't really, I was like, we're just very different. And you don't really care to hear about, what's going on. You want me to put my big girl panties on and get on with it. Because he's very much, yeah, that's in the past. But it could be a cultural thing. He is Hispanic, and I know a lot of Hispanics are like that. It's kind of like, don't be weak. Just move on. Look, we did it, and he's not wrong. But at the same time, I'm someone that has to feel whatever is happening inside. I can't stuff it down anymore because when I do, I rage. Okay. So I'm just really at this point, and I was thinking, last night when I couldn't sleep, I was just kind of like, what is it that I'm running from? I mean, I went through it all. Like I was there, I saw it, I felt the pain, I was sad, and like, why am I scared now? And why do I think I can't survive it? Because I did survive it. I'm here, I'm talking to you. It's just this really weird place I'm in. So it's kind of like a limbo. It's like it's so important to share this story because I have done the work, okay? I've talked to therapists, different kinds, solution focused, CBT. I tried this really weird one, like a BHWT or something. I don't know. It's like this really weird brain recursive therapy. I don't know. I'll have to get the name if you're interested. It was crazy, and I think it might have lifted something. I'm just not sure, but it's really hard and it's a really scary space. So it's definitely not for everybody. It's controversial. People think that it's a scam. But it's very popular, like in the UK. So I tried that. EMDR, tried that. I've tried not drinking. I went 150 days with no alcohol, and yeah, my brain was clearer and I had some energy. But it kind of stopped there. I know that it was better than I'm giving it credit for. But what I thought was I would go in there and do the work, go to therapy, quit drinking, change my diet, and all the things. And once my daughter's appointment came around, I would handle it better. But the thing is, I didn't fucking handle it better. Like I fall apart. Yes, I'm there. I'm there when she goes to the hospital. I'm holding her. I'm staying calm. But it's before, like the weeks before that I'm just a mess. And yes, I try to hide it as best I can, especially around my daughter. But my insides, what my brain is doing, it's awful. It's like a prison, being in my body is like a prison. And that is because PTSD hijacks your system. And I hate it. It makes me angry. Like, my eyes are watery right now because it makes me so angry because I did the work. I did everything. And I'm still not able to show up like I want to for my daughter because my daughter needs me to be strong. And I want to be strong for her. I want to be strong for everybody. I don't want to fall apart, but I do. I am a person that freezes and I can't do anything. I can't work. I can't think. I can't plan. I don't, and I won't. Until that appointment's over, I can barely breathe or eat or anything. And then once she's out, I take a sigh, like it's a sigh of relief. And then I can start slowly moving again. So here I am. She just had an appointment, a procedure in July, at the end of July, and it went beautifully, guys. It went beautifully. If you don't know, my daughter has TOF with pulmonary atresia, and her pulmonary valve was very, very small on the left side, I believe. And they did a very extensive procedure last September, and then they went back in and they were going to open the stent they had put into her valve, and they were going to balloon it, and that they were just going to have to keep ballooning it. But it turns out that the surgery was so successful that her pulmonary valve began to grow all on its own, and that was best case scenario. And when the surgeon came in from the procedure, she was smiling so big, and she said, this is the best thing that could have happened. We didn't even have to stay the night at the hospital, which I was very grateful for because Quinn really hates it there. We all do. But she did so beautifully. Her body is just healing and she's doing great. And yes, there are procedures in the future, but right now, I'm grateful for this win, and it was such a beautiful, miraculous moment, and I was so happy for her, all of us. And I was so proud of her because she was so brave. You guys, oh, I wish you could have seen how brave she was. They were, doing her, like, blood pressure and talking to her. And yes, they always take good care of her. And you could tell she was afraid, but she was just trying to be so brave. And she did beautifully. And I'm so proud of her. She is the coolest chick in the whole world. I don't like to share like all of that about her. It's really her story. So I won't be sharing a lot about that, but that is, what's going on with her. Sorry for sniffing. God, she's just so incredible. And I'm so proud to be her mother. Oh, I'm so proud of her. But the thing is, when you have a baby like her, while she is doing beautifully, I also know that I almost lost her, and my brain is constantly telling me that she won't be here. Even though there's plenty of evidence and her prognosis is great, the brain jumps to worst case scenario because that's what it does. It does that to protect me, but you know what? Well, that's not working, because before every procedure, I'm obsessing over looking for signs and praying and asking for God to save my baby and don't take her away, but to like take me away, because I can't live without her. And it's just this very real terror that comes with this particular thing. And while she does so beautifully, I still live with this terror inside me, and I hate it. I know it's always going to be there, but I have to learn. And so that's what I'm, doing. And I mean, yeah, I do good being strong for her when she's right there. But other than that, I pretty much fall apart all day, and my insides, they actually feel like it's screaming constantly. And so I tried taking antidepressants. I think it was Zoloft this time. I lasted a month, and I'm not doing that. I'm just not. I don't know. Something just tell me not to. So I'm trying to find different supplements, different things to do. I'm trying to look at new tools, different things. And that's, I guess, what I'm going to share with all of you. I haven't been really consistent. I'm not going to lie. It's like I start and then I stop. And then I start and then I stop. And it's really, really exhausting, because what has happened to my brain is, if there's any type of joy, any type of peace, the alarm system starts to go off, and my nervous system will then start to ramp up, and it'll be like, danger, something bad is about to happen, because you feel good. And so even if I do feel joy or peace or happiness, it's hijacked again, taken away from me by this fear of anything bad happening. And it's truly this really terrible place to be, because it feels like I'm faking it all the time. And so that brings me to this current chapter. And I'm going to be really honest with you about what's going on. So my daughter had a procedure, but what you don't know is that in June, I found out, maybe it was the end of May, I had sore boobs, and I was like, fuck. Because I never get any sort of symptom, right? I had sore boobs. I hadn't even missed my period yet. Quinn was acting really weird, involving my stomach uterus area and being like telling me there's a baby in there and shit. And I'm like, no, there's not. There's no way. So technically, Quinn knew immediately that I was pregnant. I didn't even know. In fact, I took a pregnancy test and it didn't even read. It was way too early. Like it's a negative test. And then she kept on doing it. She kept on bringing me like blankets, covering me up and telling me that baby needed a blanket. And I'm like, what the hell is happening? So like 5 days later, I take another test. It is positive. So I was not gonna lie to you. I was not happy. I was not happy. I had just gotten my body back. I breastfed Quinn till like she was 2.5, and I finally got done breastfeeding. She is potty trained. Like I've started to like get pieces of my life back. I was like baking and going on walks when I had the chance. She's independent, and she's just like my buddy, and we have so much fun, and it's just fun being with her and hanging out with her and snuggling with her. And I knew that a new baby would end all of that. And I was so scared because, if you've been around here or if you're new here, I'm going to be honest with you. I never saw myself as a mom. I always saw myself as like the fun aunt. And I have a lot of guilt and shame around that because I love being Quinn's mom so much, but I never planned for it. And then I got pregnant again, and not planned for it. I wasn't ready. I wanted to get healthy, because my nervous system is literally fried at this point. I'm dealing with PTSD, and I'm learning to have a child who also has PTSD. We all have medical anxiety, and the little joy I had in life is hanging out with my little girl, snuggling with her at night, and us just having the freedom to go. We get to travel because she loves to travel. And if we want to go to a girls' trip, like with my mom or sister, it would be us girls. Nobody's going to want to go with a mom that has 2 babies, but at least with one, it is doable. And it was going to change my life so much. And I grieved and I was heartbroken. And then as the pregnancy progressed, Quinn started to treat me differently. She regressed a little bit. She didn't want me around as much because my energy was not the same. So she was gravitating towards her father because he's a little more grounded and his energy was familiar. And I had this new pregnancy energy, and I was just moody and I was unhappy and I was angry and I was sick. Like I did not feel well. The exhaustion was insane. The nausea and just Mexican food was disgusting. And we always went to go eat Mexican food, and I couldn't even think about the restaurant. And it's just everything started to change. And each day I started to fall apart a little more, And then I had a night where me and Quinn were talking, and I just was like, Quinn, I know that it's different. And I just want you to know that I'm always here. And I'm going to always remember like these nights where it's just me and you. And I couldn't, like, there was nothing that was going to change that, and that we would still have nights, and that it was just going to be different. And she talked to me, hugged me, said it was okay. And so we would start talking to baby and patting the belly, saying, hi baby, we love you, we can't wait to meet you. And it was a couple of weeks of that, and we started to really get used to the idea that there would be a new baby in February. But then July 3rd, I had some spotting. And before that, I remember we were in Galveston for my sister's birthday, and I had this pain. And I hurried up and get to the room, And I laid down. I was like, maybe it was just indigestion, like maybe it was just something like there, your body gets weird pains uh all the time when you're pregnant. Weird stuff happens. So I was scared, but I wasn't gonna overreact yet. And then July 3rd, I started spotting. And I was like, well, spotting happens, But later that night, my boobs, they completely stopped hurting. And I put Quinn to sleep and I got in the bath. And I cried because I knew I was losing my baby. I just knew it. I laid in the bed and Armando, oh, this dear sweet Armando, he's like, we'll go to the doctor. Everything's fine, the baby's fine. I said, no, the baby's not fine. I don't think that we're going to have this baby because my boobs, they just stopped hurting. And that's when I knew. And so July 4th, I wake up and I'm cramping. Like the whole area is like warm. And it starts cramping, especially in my lower back. And we go to my parents. My parents had like a little barbecue for July 4th. And the blood just starts coming. And I just sobbed. I cried with my mom. Because she's like, how's baby? And I said, I don't think I'm going to have the baby. I think the baby's gone. And she said, but no. And she's like, no, we've been praying for the baby. And I said, I know. And I was like, but the baby's not going to be born. So we cried together on the couch. The bleeding happened for a while. And I didn't go to the doctor or anything like that. I just let my body do its thing. The positive pregnancy tests, though, they lasted for a long time. Like, I finally got a negative one, like, a couple weeks ago. And because a positive pregnancy test, it just makes you, like, stressed, And sometimes, you can have leftover tissue and that can cause infections and you could like die. And it's just kind of like you want it all out. I could have had a procedure, but you know what? I just don't want my uterus fucked with anymore by doctors. I'm not saying all doctors are bad. I'm not anti-doctors. I mean, God bless all the doctors that take care of Quinn. But as far as women's care and all of that, I have very strong opinions and I'm not going to get into it. So, no, I did not go to a doctor. I finally did get a negative pregnancy test, but the issue was, no issue. It's just, it took a long time for all those hormones to clear out of my system. Mostly because, well, like I said, I was going to be completely honest. I took such good care of myself when I was pregnant, and I took such good care of myself a week of like the miscarriage. If you ever had a natural miscarriage, they last a pretty long time. That first week, I nourished, I took care of myself, I cried, I didn't drink alcohol. I was just, just trying to just take care of myself. And while it did what it needed to do, but then I got angry, I got sad, and I had wine. And then I just kept drinking the wine because it numbed everything. I didn't have to feel the pain anymore. I didn't have to think. I didn't have to hear the screaming in my body, the screaming of my nervous system being fried, I could just shut it down for a couple hours because I wasn't getting any relief from anything else. And that has continued. The wine has continued. And now I have fucked up my nervous system even more. And my body has, it just kind of like, I wake up in the morning, I do all my things. I have implemented a few things uh, in my life so far. I haven't gotten any real results yet because I just started, but um, the wine is still there in the evening, and my body waits. My body waits for the wine and the hot bath because that's my escape. Because I don't have a healthier pattern right now, and it's really embarrassing to admit that. Uh, and it's kind of like so. As I said before, I kind of deep dived with astrology, and Pluto is currently in my sixth house, and that is basically like your body, your daily rhythms, habits, work, things like that. And what Pluto does, it brings on transformation, but like in a very direct, real, aggressive way. So what has happened with the alcohol is I will drink more. I'm aware that I'm drinking more, and now I know other people are aware too. And it's like, okay, it's just like now I'm not hiding it. Everybody knows. It kind of brings on like this very big spotlight on this very ugly thing that I don't like. And now I know other people can see it. And so when I talk about alcohol, I'm not getting blackout drunk every day. I'm not waking up and drinking. No, I don't crave alcohol in that way. I can give it up easily. What's happening is at night, I will drink when Quinn goes to sleep. I'll have drinks. Like it used to be a glass of wine, then it turned into like, three. Or like what used to be a glass, bottle. It's kind of like that. And then I'll go to sleep. I mean, it's still bad, right? I'm talking like, oh, it's not a big deal, but I just want you to know, like, no, I'm not getting hammered drunk and, you know, so that I'm not functioning. That's not the case. It's that I'm drinking enough to numb whatever is happening and then I like go to sleep. But it's just kind of like if I had that extra glass of wine at dinner, everybody knows. Like, they see, they're like, why is she drinking so much? So it's like so it's kind of like embarrassing for me. Like it's even embarrassing for me to tell you that right now. But it's kind of like it's just it's what is happening in my life. It's the chapter that I'm in, and it's like giving me it's like an invitation. Okay, you are ashamed of this thing and it sucks and you don't want to be this way. You don't even want the wine. Like it's true. Like I don't sometimes I don't crave it. I'm not like, I could really use a glass of wine. It's more like, oh, okay, time for wine because I'm ready to shut down now. When really I could figure out a different way, which I'm trying to, but so far everything I've tried, it doesn't really work like the way I want it to, right? I have to kind of wrap my head around the fact that yes, there are things that will help calm my nervous system down, but it's not going to shut it down or numb it out completely, which is what I'm so used to, which is what I want. So that's what I'm kind of working with. So it's just kind of like like Pluto's like, this is your shadow. Now, what do you want to do with it? So that's just one of the shadows, right? There's lots of other things, but my hypothesis and what I plan on doing is, yes, drink less, of course, because it doesn't make me feel great. I don't like being tired all the time. It's not like I wake up hungover because I'm not really drinking enough for that. It's like, I mean, honestly, I don't know. I should probably be hungover, but I have a high alcohol tolerance. Again, not proud. I'm destroying my body, right? So, but I'm tired. I have no energy. I don't want to do anything. I don't have patience. Like everything's annoying. I just want to like I noticed even last night I noticed it. Like yes, I'll play with Quinn, and we like, I love going to the grocery store with her and her helping me. Like, she's such a good helper. Like, we do things, we bake, we have our moments, you know. She's not neglected, but it's just kind of like I lose my patience, and sometimes I snap at her, I snap at Armando, because everything is just so annoying to me, even though it's not. Like, if my nervous system didn't feel this way, I wouldn't be annoyed at all. Yeah, things would frustrate me, but not like this, you know? And at some point, it's not about the other person. It's not about motherhood being hard or Armando being annoying or, you know, whatever it is. It's not everyone else's fault. It's mine. This is me. Like, this is all me. And I have to learn to, one, accept it, two, take accountability, which I am. That's what I'm doing right now. And three, I have to find a solution, right? And I know that alcohol just makes me more annoyed with life, more irritated. It doesn't work. It's not healing. It gives me relief for that moment, but it makes everything 10 times worse. I already know this, but it's frustrating because I have quit drinking alcohol and nothing was fixed. I'm mad about that. And I don't, maybe something did shift during that time. I went 150 days, no alcohol. Um, but you know what? I might have had energy. I might have been calmer. I had some patience. I was writing more. Like, things were opening up. But I will tell you, I wasn't happy. Like, I wasn't dancing with Quinn. Nothing was funny. Like, yeah, I was present, but I wasn't happy. I wasn't laughing. Nothing was fun, you know? And I'm not saying you have to have alcohol to have fun, but I will tell you, like, once I decided to have that glass of wine, we were listening to music and dancing, and I was laughing, and I was in the kitchen cooking, and it was just like a good time. And so, like, of course, my brain has made that connection, even though, I don't know, maybe if I had kept going being sober, I would have found the joy and happiness again. Maybe I should have implemented something different. I have no idea. I really don't know. And I have no idea what's going to happen this time. But what I do know is that yes, I'll drink less, but my hypothesis is that if I continue to kind of heal, which storytelling is one of those things, you know, like talking to you, talking to people about what has happened, um, you know, crying about it, and this podcast is one of the things that I've brought back in to help heal my nervous system. Something else is I'm learning to establish anchors. So in the morning, I'll have a sip of this detox tea, which I need to remake because I have fallen off. I did really good, but then I stopped because I don't know. So I'm going to remake this detox tea, and I'm going to take a deep breath and let my body know that I'm safe. And then I'm going to pair it with something that brings me joy. So that could be writing out a sentence or doodling or giving Quinn a hug or doing like a stretch or whatever. So, um, anchors. And then I have started to do rage runs. So I go out and I run as hard as I can, which isn't very far because I'm super out of shape, but it gets, you know, that energy moving in my body. Because when you struggle with trauma, PTSD, and I don't use that term lightly. I don't, I get very annoyed when everybody says they have trauma and they don't. I don't think everything is trauma. I don't. So I'm not using that term lightly. But when you do have actual trauma, like thinking your daughter is going to die every second of every day and having your daughter almost die or having your daughter go into a medical procedure, like after she had an emergency open heart surgery, like these things, or losing, you know, a miscarriage while, like having a miscarriage while you're waiting for your daughter's procedure. Like, I'm telling you, June and July almost killed me. Um, no, July almost killed me. And when I say almost killed me, also not saying that lightly. To lose a baby when you're scared that you're already going to lose your baby, like your 3-year-old who's about to have her medical procedure, I think that might be too hard for anyone to like do. Or maybe I'm giving myself too much credit. I really don't know. But, you know, miscarriages are so hard, and and they're hard on the body. And especially when you're not taking care of your body, right? You know, your liver is working to detox the hormones, and you have all the hormones, and not to mention I have cortisol pumping all day, every day, adrenaline all day, every day, never ever stops because I'm constantly living in fight or flight. And that's hard on your body. And you can't live that way. It's not sustainable. You will get, you know, sick or have a nervous breakdown, or I don't know. I think that's where cancer comes from, honestly. And so, you know, it got to the point where my body was such a wreck, and I was just, my brain was on a loop, you know, and I just was like, I am not okay. I don't know what to do. I'm scared. I feel alone. And I feel like Armando deserves a better partner, a stronger partner, and Quinn deserves a stronger mom, someone that could do better. Like Armando does so good at her appointments. Um, I'm not a good mom. I'm not a good partner. I'm a burden to everyone in my life. And I just thought that maybe for a split second, I did. I thought that maybe the world would be much better without me. And it was a very scary thought. But don't worry, everyone, I'm in therapy, and I don't want to leave my baby or my family. I love them dearly, but I do want to be a better version of myself. And these changes are going to happen slowly. I have to anchor them. They have to become a part of my life, because if you change everything at once, it's not going to work. It's just not. Yes, alcoholism, um, what I do with alcohol is much different than, say, like someone that craves, you know, alcohol, the drug, you know, who needs to party and do the thing. You know, that's not what's happening with me. I use it as a tool to calm my nervous system, and I know that. And it's not like an excuse. It's what I do, because you know what? I woke up this morning and I was fine. I don't crave alcohol. I don't like wake up and drink it. I've cut it out. I can cut it out again. It's just like right now I don't want to, because I want to shut my body down. I want to like down the screaming. And so what I'm thinking is, if I keep implementing these tiny little things, and I start to anchor my nervous system in such a way, I think the desire to shut down with alcohol at the end of the day will just kind of subside all on its own. I don't know. That's just what I'm thinking. So, you know, like, well, it was like one night last week where I just didn't want to drink. I was fine. Like, I didn't need it. My nervous system felt fine. I had a slight moment where I was like, oh, alcohol. But then instead I made this like warm magnesium drink, and it kept me calm. And then I just, you know, got in my bath and went along with my night. You know, it's like, it's possible. And maybe that was just like the first of many nights where I just won't feel like drinking. I really don't know. That's just my hypothesis. And that is where I'm at now. So, as I said before, you know, according to like my birth chart, um, my body tends to, or my life tends to burn down, and then I build it back up. And I am happy to say that I am in the rebuilding phase. Everything is burned down. Everything is fucking ashes, and now it's time to rebuild. And I can do that. I know. I've done it lots of times. And I know my daughter's here with me, and I love her, and she's so strong and beautiful, and I watch her be so brave and powerful, and she deserves a mom that does the same. And so my daughter is my inspiration for all of this, because I think about how brave she was at her last appointment, how she keeps showing up and being braver, and I just was like, wow, that girl is amazing. She is amazing for that. and I deserve to be amazing for her and for myself. And so that is where we are. It is fucking messy, right? So no, I don't have it all figured out. In fact, I'm quite a big mess, but I'm happy to know that I don't want to die anymore. While I still might be a burden to everyone in my life, I still love my daughter and I'm meant to be her mother, and I'm not leaving her. Um, so yeah, that is what's going on, and I don't know. Thank you for being here. Thank you for listening to my story, and I can't wait to keep sharing. And um, I did want to tell you that I have decided I'm going to implement something, and it's going to be called Shame Wednesday. Now, I don't know if anyone else is doing this, but I do know that there's a concept online. I can't remember what the thing is, but what people do is they'll mail postcards or letters into an address with their secrets. I think it's like post a secret or something. I don't know. But what I want to do, and the purpose of this is shame on the frequency scale. Shame is probably like the lowest, and I carry so much of it for so many different reasons. But what I know is that the one thing shame doesn't like is for the spotlight to be on it. Shame wants you to hold on to it, keep it dark, keep it secret. And I know when you shed light on something like that, it loses its power, it loses its grip. So the theory is that I have is I'm gonna have a PO box eventually, where you can send in your shame postcard or letter or whatever, and I want you to write down whatever makes you feel shameful, and it's anonymous. And the idea is to shed light on this thing that holds you back, that buries you in whatever darkness you carry around every day. What we're going to do is we're going to share it, shed light on it, take the power away so that you don't have to carry it anymore. And ultimately, it's going to raise the vibration of not only you, but I think the collective. And then once I read or share or talk about this thing that we read, and I'll share my own, of course, I will do a ritual and I will burn it and I will send it back to wherever it needs to go. And I just think it'll be a really powerful ritual, and I think that it will be fun to lighten up something that feels so heavy sometimes. So once I get that all set up, I want you to start sending in your shame cards. I think it'll be a lot of fun. So that's what the plan is, and I will be back next week. And I hope to hear from you. If you have any sort of things to say, you can contact me. I still have basementphilosophies@gmail.com, and I will be back. Bye for now.